everyone, welcome back to the Mama Elephant YouTube channel. This is Rena. We are continuing to celebrate the Mama Elephant anniversary event. This is Mama Elephant's biggest release of the year, and we're celebrating 8 years with Mama Elephant. All the new products featured in this video series will be available on Tuesday, September 15th. Today we're going to take a closer look at Santa Baby. This stamp set is illustrated by Ada Zamora. I love this take on Santa by Ada Zamora. I also think she did another stamp set called Santa's Sleigh where he also appears, and it's so cute. I love these new images. I especially love the one with Mrs. Claus. There are coordinating dies available for Santa Baby, and there's a look at that. We're going to be coloring these images using Copic markers, and I do have the list of Copic marker colors I used in the beginning of the video. These images were stamped out on Neenah 110-pound paper using the Gina K Designs amalgam ink in Obsidian. I thought I would use a traditional color palette for these set of cards today. So, there's nothing like just plain red and green for Christmas. I love it. So those are the main colors that I'll be using for these images, and I think they are just so sweet, and I think you can make so many cards with all of the images. I tried to use one of each image so you know the sizing and what it looks like on a card, but I really love these, and this image here is my favorite. I love that it is holiday card making season right now. The only part that's a little crazy is that it is like summer. It is like well over 100 degrees where I'm at, and I think this happened to me last year when I was making these videos. It always kind of happens in midsummer, and it is so hot even with the air conditioning on. But I think the thing that makes up for the heat is being able to work on fun Christmas cards. And I like to go overboard with, all of the glitter and glitz and sequins. It's just like the fun part of crafting in the year for me. I love all of these little scenes with the Santa. You can do tags and different things. I think it's so cute. I tried to put as much as I could on a card, and I really enjoyed using some of the newer dies from Mama Elephant. So I did use the Slim Card Basics die again, and then also the 4-window cover, which is amazing. I love all of the grid type dies because you can make scenes very easily. I think it's a lot harder to make one scene on the front of the card. For example, with the 4-window cover, I just plopped on a Santa image on each of the windows, and I am so happy with the look and how it turned out. I'm just using the traditional color palette here with the red and green, and then anything that's white I'm using gray, and I always try my best not to make an image gray and to make it look just like shadows, but it's really hard because I have a heavy hand and I always have to be aware of how much gray I'm using. So every time I make cards, I always think of how do I kind of optimize like the card making process, and keeping it fun, and not overthinking it, because Rena overthinks. That's just how I roll. But I always try to think of ways to optimize it and then make it more fun. And for these set of cards, I was just racking my brain on like, oh, what color palette should I use? How can I be different? And all this, and it was just taking too much time. And I'm like, you know what? Like red and green is totally fine. And once I got that decision out of the way, we were good. So basically, I always have to stop myself from overthinking because, I just really just enjoy coloring. And some days I really like shading and taking my time and, just being super extra. And then some days I just want to just not think about it and then just, not shade at all. But it's like I always have to remind myself this has to be fun and it has to be what you enjoy. So what's interesting about this image here is the Santa is wearing spectacles, and you see that I used blue-green to color in his spectacles, but there's a different image where I colored it pink like cheeks. So I'm like, why did I do that? So I believe they're spectacles, so ignore the image that I colored them pink for cheeks, but I think it can go for both. But that's what I did, and I just noticed that right now. I love all the different elements of this particular image, but I had to be really careful that I was coloring all the things, the colors I was supposed to, because when I film, I'm actually really kind of far away from what I'm coloring. So sometimes I can't see real well, so I had to be super careful with that one. Now that I'm looking at this image, I believe this is a post box, and I believe they're typically red. I colored it gray because Santa was going to be red and this is going to be red, so I just kind of wanted a different color. But I believe that is a mailbox. I'm going to be stamping out the sentiments that I need for the two cards we're making. So I do have that 4-window cover, and I will be making a shaker card, so I kind of want to be careful where I'm stamping things. I did stamp it at the bottom, so that means I can't do too much shaker filler or it'll cover the sentiment. So here is the second card that I'm going to make. I'm using the Slim Card Basics die with the 3 holes, and I'm actually using 2 sentiments on that one, and all of the sentiments that I'm using come from the Santa Baby stamp set. I'm going to start out and build my shaker card out. So I'm going to add the acetate behind the front of the card. On the other side is where I stamped out those sentiments. And then I'm going to take some double-sided foam adhesive, and I'm going to put it on the back of the card to create my shaker wells. I'll put the link for this particular tape that I like to use for shaker cards. I get it on Amazon. If you don't have this tape, you can definitely use tape that you already have in your stash. You would just have to cut it down to 1/4 inch. I'm going to put some divisions in between the circles, so all of the shaker filler doesn't kind of sink down to the bottom, and each little window has its own little shaker mix inside it. I had a lot of fun kind of searching my stash to see what kind of shaker filling that I would use. So I'm doing red and green, and I had this pack of, this is from American Crafts, I believe, and it's called Moxie tube confetti, and it's really weird. It looks like beads, but it's not. It's kind of like this like foil metallic that's kind of like a tube shape, and it's like really lightweight. So I'm using that as kind of like the main attraction of my shaker filler, and then I'm going to fill it with some clear different clear confettis and different clear stars. I believe all of the clear materials were from Pretty Pink Posh. And then that other tube of mini stars that I did in gold is from Michaels. Once that's all filled up, I'm going to take out the release paper from behind, and then I will put another backer sheet to seal that shaker well up. You want to press down and make sure that everything is sealed tightly so there's no leakage. So we have all of the images. I've cut them out using the coordinating dies, and then now I'm going to put 3 images in front of the little windows, and I just love how it turned out. And of course I wanted to use my Mr. and Mrs. Claus image there. I'm going to take that shaker mechanism and I'm going to mount it on this scallop rectangular piece, and I believe all of these pieces are from the Slim Card Basics Creative Cuts. Now that our card front is done, I'm going to make it a card, and so I'm making it a shape card, and I took the die that created that scallop rectangular piece and I cut out a white piece with it, and then now I'm scoring it, and I'm kind of scoring it, I'd say 1/2 inch, and I'm going to burnish that both ways because that will be kind of like the card backer. I'm making a shaped card here. You can definitely make your own card base and mount your card front into a card base, but I like it doing it this way. I think it reduces bulk, and I just love the look of the shape card, how it's also kind of a scallop backer too. I think it looks really slick. I like the look of that. And you want to make sure that you burnish that score line nicely so it can open and close really good. We're going to make our second shaker card here using the 4-window cover by Mama Elephant. I'm going to put my acetate on the back of this 4-window cover. I'm just kind of like corralling in all of the rogue adhesive. I think my adhesive is thicker than the actual die cut, so I'm just kind of making sure all the sides are clean of adhesive. I put my acetate sheet, and then now I'm creating my shaker wells using the foam tape. Again, I'll put the link down below on the foam tape that I use, but you can definitely cut down your own foam tape to 1/4 of an inch to create these wells. Once I'm done with the foam tape, I'm going to fill it up with shaker material, and I'm using the same shaker material as I did with the first card, but instead of using green as the main color, I'm going to use red as the main shaker filler for this. Since I stamped my sentiment kind of at the bottom, there, the bottom right hand corner, I don't want any of the shaker material to cover that sentiment, so I'm going to put a minimal amount of shaker filler in that particular window that has the sentiment stamped on. And you can see here where I realize, oh no, I have to make sure that that particular window there just has like a minimal amount of filler, because I do want my sentiment to show. And I've made cards before where I've covered it, and you know, I always forget about that aspect. So I remembered this time, and then I'm going to make red the main color, and then I'm filling in with some of the clear sparkly sequins just to take up a little bit more space, and then I'm topping it off with the mini gold stars from Michaels. Once I filled all of the shaker wells with the shaker filler, I'm going to remove the release paper from the double-sided foam adhesive, and then I'm going to seal that shaker well up with a backer sheet. That's where I had stamped my sentiment, and so that sentiment is in a very specific place because I'm putting the curtain image there, and I didn't want the curtain to cover the sentiment. So when I stamped out that sentiment, I had my curtain image there just so I would have perfect placement, and the sentiment and the image wouldn't have to compete. So I'm taking double foam tape, and that's how I'm adhering my images in front of the little windows. I love how big these windows are, and I love how you can make 4 different little scenes super easily. I'm going to call this card done. I'm going to make the card base standard size. I'm just going to score it at 4 1/4 and fold it down, and then I'm going to adhere my card front to the card base. That's it. I'm calling my shaker cards done. I hope you enjoyed the video and these super cute Santa images. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have an awesome day. Stay safe and happy crafting. I will see you guys again tomorrow for another video. Bye, guys.